Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Box 3 PC ACC Racing. We are ready to go. I am so hyped for today. I am going to admit it. I am exceedingly hyped for today because today we're at Mount Panorama, one of my favorite circuits, especially when I'm not driving it and we get to watch these guys drive it. So it's going to be a blast. I absolutely cannot wait. Just waiting for the server to kick off here. I know it's going to bounce. So, you know, as we wait for that to happen here in about a minute and a half, we're going to keep an eye on things to make sure we're good to go and to get in there. Things are going to be a little bit different today. Okay, we've got new overlays for the race. I'm still learning the software over here a little bit, so it's going to be a little confusing, but I'm doing my best to keep up with everything. I think we'll still be able to. We'll also be testing out the autopilot feature because we're definitely going to need that during next weekend's 24-hour race. But as we wait here for the server to come back up, let's take a minute and talk about that real quick. You guys got to see this, you know, during the intro, waiting for the show to start. But PC ACC continues next week at Imola. We are there for an endurance race, 90 minutes of racing next weekend. On April 24th. We are skipping next weekend, and we'll talk about that here in a moment. So April 24th, our season 2 of PC ACC returns. Again, that Pro Class champ winning that next level racing FGT Light, our Silver Class champ winning a full car setup bundle from Coach Dave Academy, and the most improved driver as voted on by the community gonna win that track map bundle from Coach Dave as well. We want to thank both of them, their sponsorship of season 2 PC ACC Racing, and only 3 rounds left, so it's getting close. Hopefully by next week or by the 24th, I'll have a nice little graphic we can throw up there, and you guys will be able to see exactly where the point standings are in our season 2 ACC standings. But if you're ready for it, Tuesday Night Beer Cup continues this week, April 12th, 10 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time at Brands Hatch, in conjunction with Trackalicious and 949 Sim Racing. Everyone should be looking to jump in there and come around for a little casual fun racing. 45-minute race, right? Pretty easy, but mixed class, cup cars and TCX. That's got to get crazy. Unfortunately, I'm not around for it. I wish I were, because I would absolutely love to watch it. Not just to even stream it, just to watch it. It's got to be an unbelievable show. So if you're interested in some casual late night racing on the East Coast, be sure to join in on the Beer Cup. Euro Trip continues this week as well. Tomorrow, casual racing at the Nürburgring, 7 p.m. UTC. It's right around this time, around 3 p.m. Eastern Daylight. So if you're not up for league racing, if you don't feel, if you feel like that's some pressure, don't forget, you can join these casual leagues over at Box Motorsports and be ready for that. Last but certainly not least, and it's not even last, but Xbox GT3 Season 3 kicks off next Saturday at the Hungaroring. 45 minutes racing, against 3 p.m. Eastern Daylight, 7 p.m. UTC. If you're a console racer and you'd like to join in, by all means, get over there, get signed up. We still have a few slots left for Season 3 of Xbox Racing. And again, with Trackalicious and 949, I love those guys. We're getting together for a summer-long 6-hour endurance series, GT3 and 4 multi-class racing at Barcelona, Hungaroring, Zandvoort, and Mount Panorama. Now, pay attention, you're not going to be able to watch all these races right here. You probably will be able to, because we do auto-host both Trackalicious and 949 when we're not online. However, I can tell you this, you're going to want to come back, because we're going to be back for 6 hours at Mount Panorama right here at Box 3. Mainly because I told the guys when they set this up that I wanted to cover that race because I love Mount Panorama so much. And as I said, next weekend, oh, and look, everything's covered up. Let's shrink that up live and in person. Again, 24 hours of Imola kicks off next Saturday at 10 a.m. UTC. That's 6 a.m. Eastern Daylight, and you're going to be able to catch all 24 hours right here at Box 3 Motorsports. So I really hope everybody joins us for that as I get connected to the server. Catch up here and make sure everything's ready. But so many things going on. Today's race just happens to be one of my favorites because, oh my goodness, again, it's Panorama. So as I will ask y'all to give me a second here to get set up before things are too loud in my ears and all kinds of stuff. So we're gonna get this flipped off and ready to go. as we blank things out, get it all set up. All right, folks, we're ready for today's race. Free practice right now. Let's jump right in. We'll get in there live. As I said, new overlays this week. Hopefully new and more information able to bring you guys as you watch. And probably not by next week's 24-hour race, but soon. We're going to look to get these overlays customized and really fit them in to the stream and provide the best content possible. As you can see, a good number of drivers on the track today. David Soul returns. In his McLaren, Lee King McGee is back as well in the Bentley. So far, 33 drivers on track with us today. Anthony Anderson back. Alexis out there. We don't have a lot of those racing this season, so good to see Alexis back out on track. Mr. Anderson heads uphill, and we will look to try and get that first person perspective of a lap around Panorama as qualification starts, so you guys can see exactly what our drivers will be contending with today. Retro Coffin back on track with us, along with Alejandro Aguilar during this first quick free practice. Ryan Blanchette returns in the Ferrari. Paul Gress back on track as well, along with Rogerio Santos. You know, it's interesting because Bathurst or Mount Panorama, whichever, whatever you want to call it, is very curious. I'm going to be very curious to see how things go today because, we know who some of our faster drivers are. We know who some of our resident aliens might be, but Panorama is such a different track than all the others. I mean, really, the entire mountain sector, so call it, all of Sector 2, a little bit of Sector 1, almost all of Sector 2. Sector 2 ends halfway down the straight, the back straight coming back around. But for the most part, it's really a no passing zone, right? These guys are going to have to play the game of being patient and waiting to see when they can create an opportunity, because it is so tight up that hill. And again, we'll take a look so everybody can see it here at some point. But the fact that this is so tight, and wickedly fast, particularly on the downhill, this is not somewhere that you really want to throw down and try and make a pass, whether that's a back marker or fighting for position. There are very few corners here, I think, that where a safe pass can be made. And again, the track looks plenty wide, but you are so walled in. So many of the corners up across the hill are so fast that I don't see a lot of opportunity. But we'll see. We'll see where these guys can grab them today. I'm going to do my best to track all of that, again, with new software. Will Green returns. Spike strip. Moons, you don't need spike strips to make Mount Panorama exciting. Trust me when I tell you this, sir. And I hope you're doing well. I haven't talked to you in a while. Good to see you around. The man, the myth, the legend himself. Cole Gress back into the pits, currently holding best in this quick free practice session up front with a 2:04.4. Now, pre-race, we talk about pre-race every week because usually these guys are already on track looking to get some laps in. I can tell you this, that we were seeing 2:03s in there. And this is why I stuck with him. Will Green now with a 2:02.9. So breaking under that 2:03 point that we saw pre-race today, pre-free practice, just guys getting ready. And we will continue to keep an eye out and see Justine Sheffer right now. Just about 206 up on his fastest. So we'll have to see if he's able to bring something through before the end of free practice today. 2.5 minutes left to go. Moon saying Greeny is the man, about to take first today. Well, he is certainly practicing like he is hungry for it. That is for sure. Keep an eye on Will real quick as he heads through the uphill right now. And you can see you're walled in. You're not going anywhere. If you lose it through here, damage is going to occur. There's very little room for error. You've got a runoff right here at the very top of the hill. There's an opportunity to grab some sand and maybe get out without damage. But right here when the downhill starts, and you guys will watch it as we follow Will down the hill. These corners very fast. All the way down to the hairpin at the bottom and then opening up to a very long straight. Finish the downhill run. Brian Canopin returns this week. Out in that very slick looking Audi. Brian driving the new Evo 2. And again, you see this downhill section, just how quickly you're trying to dive bomb through it while keeping control. And I can tell you from personal experience, I love it. I'm a lower driver, but I still enjoy it because when you hit it right, when you hit it in such a way that you, what do I want to say? Where everything just comes together, it feels like you're on a roller coaster. Very smooth, very fast, and it's just fantastic to drive. .45 seconds now left in free practice. We'll get ready for qualification to kick off. Will Green, the fastest during practice. A lot of our drivers now into the pits. Rob Kisar returning this week. Nikolai Tsiabuk. John Tracy returns as well, along with Chris Moses. Evan Silvarius. You see there Zap Brannigan in the background. Remco Otten's back with us this week as well. We wait for free practice to wind down. Don't forget, folks, I'm very excited for next week. I absolutely cannot wait. 24 hours at Imola. Please come back and watch. We're going to be here the whole time. 6 a.m. Saturday morning. 10 a.m. UTC. All the way until 10 a.m. UTC Sunday morning. It's going to be a little crazy. You're not lying, Fife. There is always going to be something to find. Yes, sir, Moons. I will be here for the entire 24. I might have to take a step away from time to time, right? As I think would be normal for anybody. But yeah, I'm going to be here the whole time. Well, sir, I don't know about all that. Nuts is probably the more appropriate word. Crazy is another one you could use. But yeah, I'm planning on being here the whole time. We'll see how that plays. I think it'll be just fine. But again, have to take a break from time to time, get some food in me, a little coffee, right? So how many drivers can a team have? I believe up to 4 drivers per team for the 24-hour race. Yannick Kurtz back with us today. There you see it again. Will Green setting the fastest lap. Brian Canopin getting under that 204 point along with Christoph Arts and Moses as we reset and get ready for qualification to begin. And our drivers are right at it. Not going to waste any time. The numbers you see up there, what you'll be seeing, folks, is the personal best delta from qualification here today as each driver sets their laps. Are they faster or slower? Now, the one thing I don't have the ability to do anymore, or I should say I lost the ability to do, is to bring up the entire list. But we're going to do our best to get through it with everybody. I'm hoping there's an element to this that I can use for that down the road. But again, it's learning new software, all of those things. So we'll see how that works out. With autopilot running right now, putting us squarely on Will Green as these guys look to spread out and get some qualifying laps in. Would be crazy if you could only have one driver. There are a few people. I think there's one guy who is actually doing the entire 24 hours himself. The last 24 hour he ran, he admitted he only made it 21 hours before he shut down. So we'll see if he's able to make the whole 24. And there are a few that on track, it will appear as though it's the same driver over the course of the entire race. However, they are actually in real life swapping drivers in the same house. Maybe it's, I don't know, roommates or friends that live close by. They'll be swapping themselves out in real life, so they don't have to do a driver change in game itself. You watch King McGee there on his out lap. And again, only a 20-minute qualifying, which on a track like this, on a track like Spa, gets very difficult because every time you've got to go back to the pits and reset, make an adjustment or anything like that, that out lap is another 2 minutes, right? That's a lot of time to be losing in order to make it a small adjustment. So are you happy with the position you take? Or do you go ahead and try your best to go in, make an adjustment quickly, and get back out on track to run another qualifying lap and see if it's something you're able to make an improvement on. Christoph Arts. And Chris Moses right now. Brian Canopin heads out of the pits at this point, waiting for a little bit of traffic to clear, but losing about 3 minutes on his qual times. Otten's now on a flying lap. Wait for some laps to start coming in. So far, very quiet, but again, not a surprise given the long lap time here at Bathurst. Going to take some time to get a good lap in, and right there we have it. King McGee, fastest lap thus far at a 2:03.087. Tom Foose now setting up just behind King with a 2:03.1. Will Green there as well with a 2:03.3. Now we saw Will during the free practice with a 2:02.9. So obviously he's got a little more swat there yet. A little more to squeeze out of this track. We'll see if he's able to do it before the end of this qualification session today. Tom Foose right now, pulling purple in sector 1 and 3. Let's take a look here at King McGee real quick and just make a quick comparison with Tom Foose. We see McGee holding purple in sector 2, and really very interesting to see that McGee is a little over 3/10 off the pace in sector 3. If we look at Tom and where he's sitting, really making up quite a bit of time in sector 2, from a 57 flat down to a 56.442, so a little over half a second in sector 2, obviously that being McGee's strong portion of this track. And there Tom not really able to bring it down. As we compare Tom Foose to Tom Foose because of the autopilot, that makes a lot of sense. Get back over here to King McGee. And Will Green, there you have it. New fastest lap at a 2:02.932. It's about what we saw during practice. Will getting some and Tom Foose instantly taking it back with a 2:02.797. The times just keep ticking down, but great run on the part of Tom Foose. And again, let's make that comparison between these guys and see exactly where Tom was able to beat him out. So a little over. Again, Tom's still continuing to struggle just a tad in sector 2, but sector 1 and 3 taking those purple over Will Green. Chris Moses now jumping into second as he heads into the pits. Moses not holding purple in any sector at this point. McGee still holding purple in sector 2. And here's one. John Tracy now jumping up to pole position with a 2:02.645. Goes into the pits to make a quick change, and we'll see as he comes back out if he's able to extend that or hold on to that lead. That is absolutely the fastest lap we've seen thus far today. And from John Tracy, not typically one of our fastest drivers. A very good driver, but not one of our fastest. All of a sudden finding himself sitting atop pole position. We go on board with Kevin Silvares and Christoph Arts. Arts currently running in 9th with a 2:03.6. Will Green getting himself back into second with a 2:02.652. So just a little off Tracy's pace, but we see Will has brought it down from that free practice session we watched. Our top drivers now, you know, if we look at our top 3, split up by less than 1/10 of a second between the 3 of them. Brian Canopin now into 4th with a 2:02.7. Those 2:02s extend all the way down to P6 with King McGee at a 2:02.957. So a lot of very fast drivers here at Bathurst this week. Again, one of my absolute favorite tracks, right up there with Spa. You know, Bathurst is Spa with the added danger of walls as you go up the mountain, right? Spa has Eau Rouge, Radion, a couple other corners that are a little different than what you find at other tracks, right? They're not, you gotta take them a little different. You gotta know what you're doing. But Bathurst takes these different corners and puts them on a hill and puts them, you know, surrounds them with walls so that there's nowhere to go should there be a problem. Don Tracy continues to hold on to P1. We see there Will Green coming out of the pits right in front of Tracy. But Will on an out lap. Tom Foose now running right now 2/10 over his fastest. We'll have to see if 3/10. We'll have to see if he's able to tighten it up a little bit. Let's switch that up real quick. Then there it is. Tom Foose breaking under with a 2:02.4, just like that, beating out John Tracy. But you see there, John Tracy now running a little over a 10th faster. Chris Moses right now as well, a full 6/10 over his fastest, currently sitting P5. See if John's able to hold it down through the downhill section in Sector 2. He's actually picking up time so far. No doubt, trying to push just as hard as he absolutely can to get that time back. And they're losing it with a warble out of the corner. That's going to cost him. As we watch that go red. And John going to pull off track now and head back into the pits. Take a look off the wing of Bob Charlton. But John Tracy with the run, unable to capitalize though and hold it through the downhill. But let's go on board with Chris Moses. Chris Moses right now as we see it. And there's another new fastest. Right there, we caught it just in time. A 2:02 flat. Chris Moses knocking both Foose and Tracy down a position. King McGee now 2/10 up and able to claim 5th over Brian Canopin. Wilson Fernandez as well running up on his fastest time. With that, ladies and gentlemen, about 7.5 minutes left to go in today's qualifying session. I am going to take a quick step away. We will be back with your starting grid. Keep it right here. Y'all can continue to watch these guys set laps, but I will be back in just a few minutes. We will review that starting grid as qualification comes to an end. Don't forget, we're back next week with a 24-hour race at Imola. I absolutely can't wait. It starts at 10 a.m. UTC. Max of 4 drivers, random weather, and it's multi-class. GT3s, BMWs, and Cup cars. And big thanks to Apex Sim Racing. They will be providing a random driver with a button box. Apex button box vertical mount V2. And we will be giving that away live on stream at the end of the race. Again, folks, stick around here for the remainder of qualification. I will be right back. We will get ready for today's standard 45-minute race at Mount Panorama. Trackalicious, welcome to the race stream where your commentator talks into mute for at least 30 seconds before realizing exactly what is going on. Glad to have you here, my man. Let's take a look. John Tracy now able to break down, and I know you guys got to see it, able to break down under that 202 mark to a 201.895. We're going to see what that translates into for race pace, of course. Chris Moses sitting in second right now with a 202 flat. Tom Foose in third, running a little behind from where he was before, and Brian Canopin getting himself up into fourth with a 202.4. But again, those 202s extend all the way down to P8. So looking at all of this, I mean, we've got the top 8 drivers, now top 9 drivers with Yannick Kurtz, with Will Green breaking under the 201 mark at a 201.987, just behind John Tracy. There's some heavy racing up front. The 203s extend all the way down to P16 at this point. Anthony Anderson out on track with the last 203 that we've seen so far today. Andrew Haynes out as well. Just under a minute left to go in today's qualifying session. Tobias Gable, we haven't seen him yet today, but running right now a 204.9. Gable usually quite good at the German tracks, but here in Australia may not fare quite so well. That 204 putting him in P19 for the start of today's race. 35 drivers on track today. Christoph Arts again, and this is kind of what we talked about a little bit during the free practice, was what are we going to see today for some of these drivers? Bathurst is a very different track than what these guys are used to. Most tracks with some elevation changes, yes, but nothing like this mountain. And what's that going to do? And here we see it. John Tracy up at the top of our leaderboard right now, going into the race with qualifying coming to an end. Absolutely insane. You don't normally see John up that far, but has done very well for himself at today's race, or today's qualifying at Bathurst. Will Green, Chris Moses up there, Tom Foose, Brian Canopin, King McGee. Arts, though, pushed all the way down to P7. Again, not something we're used to seeing out of Christoph. He's usually a bit faster and up a little higher in the starting of the race. Wilson Fernandez right now running P8 with Yannick Kurtz, another one of our fast drivers, running P9. And Jonathan Biscotto in the pits, but currently sitting in P10. As qualifying starts to come to an end. How long is today's race? Today's should be a 45-minute race. Standard racing at Bathurst. Not next week. Actually, we get 2 weekends in a row with Imola races. Next week being the 24 hours at Imola. The week after, we're back for, I believe, endurance race at Imola on April 24th. Yes. So 2 weekends in a row driving at Imola, but that's okay because 24-hour race is just going to be off the chain. I absolutely cannot wait. It's going to be so much fun. Don't forget though, guys, if this is not for you, and again, late in the season, right? We got 3 rounds left after today. As I said earlier, I hope to have something we can update the standings, because that Pro Class champ's taking home that next level racing FGT Light, with our Silver Class champ taking home a full car setup bundle from Coach Dave Academy. We want to thank both of them for sponsoring Box3 Motorsports. That's okay, though, if you're not into the league racing. Beer Cup has just gotten started. We're back on Tuesday night, 10 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time at Brands Hatch. In conjunction with Trackalicious and 949 Sim Racing. Mixed class Cup cars and TCX is on track at the same time. Again, I'm not up that late. I can't cover them, but from what I heard, these guys had an absolute blast last week. You should definitely consider coming around for that. Euro Trip continues tomorrow at Nürburgring. 30 minutes of casual racing, 7 p.m. UTC, 3 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Don't forget, again, next Saturday, Xbox kicks off again for Season 3. It's a long one this time. But this is what the guys want to get all the tracks in. Let's do them all. Let's run through everything. A little bit less length there, right? But 7 p.m. UTC, 3 p.m. Eastern Daylight. Xbox kicks off. Exclamation point box in the chat if you are interested in that. We would love to have you join us for some Xbox racing. As our drivers line up on track today, John Tracy will be sitting in pole position alongside Mr. Will Green in P2. Chris Moses, Tom Foose will share row 2 with Brian Campin and Lee King McGee in row 3. Christoph Arts and Wilson Fernandez in row 4 with Yannick Kurtz and Humphrey Wanglesnatcher moving himself into the top 10 right there at the end. Wanglesnatcher, E10, will share row 5 with Kurtz. Moscato and Gress going to hold down row 6 with Santos and Zap. Zap getting himself up into P14, going to share row 7. Haynes and Ottens in row 8 with Anderson and Sheffer, row 9. Aguilar and Tobias Gable getting bumped a little bit at the end. Going to line up in row 10. But coming out the end of it here, looking at the numbers, Chris Moses actually holding Sector 2 purple. Sector 1 going to Tom Foose, and Sector 3, John Tracy able to hold on to, but just barely, by about a tenth of a second. And John Tracy going to lead the pack as we get ready for our... That's not supposed to do that at all. That's funny. All right, well, we'll remember that one. We'll remember that one. Again, folks, new software today. All kinds of fun stuff. John Tracy, Will Green going to lead this pack around for the warm-up lap. Chris Moses and Tom Foose up there. Brian Canopin in that new Audi Evo 2. Putting himself into 5th. This nice slow lap will give us opportunity, and hopefully during the race again we'll look to jump on board with somebody and watch a lap around Mount Panorama. But this warm-up lap will give us a good opportunity to follow these guys around, give everybody an eyeball of the track. And kind of an opportunity to see exactly what our drivers are going to contend with today. I'm going to try something real quick, so this is going to get a little weird. Yeah, see, that doesn't work. That doesn't work. Tracklist, is that esports legend Brian Canopin? That is esports legend Brian Canopin taking out the Audi today. Absolutely an esports legend. Folks, in case you're interested, and I don't want to encourage you to leave here because we love having you watch the race right here where we try and capture all that action, but if you have any interest, a lot of our drivers do stream their races. Mad Moses out there. Chris Moses going to stream today, along with Mr. Will Green over on YouTube. Rogerio Santos as well, another YouTube streamer. And Mr. Anderson will be streaming today. Nikolai Tsibuk will be using Trovio to stream today's race from his perspective. And Kevin Silvares, you can watch him race as well. So again, I don't want to encourage anybody to leave, but I do want to encourage the guys that stream their races, and I think we should all give them an opportunity to be out there. So all those links will take you directly to their streams, but I do encourage you to stick around as we get ready for the next 45 minutes of racing at Mount Panorama. Again, John Tracy going to lead the pack with Will Green in row 1. Chris Moses and Tom Foose making up row 2. Brian Canopin, esports legend Brian Canopin, along with King McGee in row 3. Christoph Arts and Fernandez making up row 4 with Kurtz and Wangle Snatcher in row 5. That will be your top 10 as we get started here today. Take a look a little further down here. Kevin Silvares now has dropped into the pits. Science Taylor joining us today. There again is Nikolai Tsibuk. G. Steven back on track, and someone already sitting sideways during the warm-up lap. That doesn't bode well. See any yellow flags, so I'm not quite sure who that is, but looks like it might have been Blue. Could it have been Blue? Might have been your boy Blue. He is out with us today. Retro Coffin returns. Josh Butler. Mr. Ryan Blanchette back on track today. Matt Comiskey as well. Rob Kisar back in the Porsche. David Soul. DJ's back. Good to see. Their Porsche on track today. That fantastic Box 3 livery. Stuart Pryor returns. Gerald Butz back with us. We take a flight over the hill. Again, John Tracy, not one of our fastest drivers, right? He's not someone you typically see and sitting on pole position. Apparently got a lot of practice in for Bathurst. It's great to see. I love seeing him up there. What I am curious about is how much pressure is he going to be feeling as this race kicks off with Will Green, Chris Moses, Tom Foose, Brian Canopin, and King McGee right there behind him. No doubt wondering if perhaps he made a mistake. I don't know. We'll see. He had a very clean driver, so we will be watching him throughout this race. Their drivers fall into double file, getting ready for the start. Great field of cars and drivers on track today. Again, 35 total. But always lots of action at Bathurst, as Fife said in the chat earlier. We wait for green to fly, and there it is. We are hammered down into T1. John Tracy already losing a little bit of position to Will Green, but able to take the inside and hold on. Chris Moses right there holding on to third with Tom Foose and Brian Canopin in the back. Will Green now pushing out ahead. Will able to get a better launch out of T1. Justin Scheffer having some problems back there, but Will definitely getting the green, and now Moses able to move up on Foose. And we're gonna have to tighten down the cameras. Bathurst has a lot of trees around the track. But Chris Moses moving himself up into third. Tom Foose dropping back just a bit as we take our first trip around the mountain. With Will Green leading the pack. Brian Canopin remains in fifth with King McGee right there. A little bit of a wall ding for Moses, but didn't seem to slow him down. Able to maintain that position. Tom Foose right there chasing, though. Whoa, camera went weird. Let's go on board with Tom Foose down the hill chasing Moses. That's the kind of wild ride you can expect every time, and you see the line of cars chasing these guys. Christoph Art's a little further back under pressure from Wilson Fernandez right now. Yannick Kurtz making a move around the outside on Fernandez. See if Kurt's able to get, and Kurt's able to get the better launch. Bumping Fernandez back puts himself up into P8. Olgress now getting around Fernandez as well. And Fernandez taking it back. Tom Foose now pushing ahead of Moses. Take a quick jump back and see if we can catch it. You might see a stutter. That's only a 10-second one. We see the move there, though. Chris Moses still right there, however. This battle holding these guys up. Will Green continues to lead about 0.6 over John Tracy, but now a 2.6 second gap back to Foose here as Foose warbles the back end coming at the top of the hill. Tracy now dropping back from Will Green by about a little over a second now. He fell back. Given time for Foose and Moses to catch up. Take a check further back. Jostein Scheffer under pressure from both Haynes and Anderson right now. Remco Otten's looking to join the fray as well. Anderson, you saw in the background there, able to make the move around Haynes. Remco right there with him. Oh, and John Tracy fell off. Looks like he's going to head into the pits. Brian Canopin and Moses both able to get around. Now Moses and Canopin going to battle. Coming back across the line. So John Tracy struggling. Let's watch this battle play out right here. Brian on the outside. Looks like he might have pulled the better launch. McGee and Arts are both right there waiting to take advantage. And we're going to go 2 by 2 by 2 by 2 into T2. Chris Moses trying to stretch out and get himself some room. See there, McGee getting around and squeezing Canopin towards the wall. King McGee able to move himself up. Now going to lead this pack as Moses looks to try and pull away, get himself some breathing room. Brian using every inch of that curbing. Which I can tell you from experience in the previous version of the Audi could be a dangerous proposition. Obviously, he's able to keep it under control. Moses now with about a 1 second gap back to McGee. Brian Canopin keeping it within a second, along with Kurtz right there. And if we take a look back at Kurtz, under pressure from Arts and Fernandez now. Arts looking for a gap. Art's taking a little chip of grass to get there. Doesn't seem to help him much, however, as he drops back just a little bit. And now Art's off track as Fernandez and Cole Gress get themselves around. Art's losing 4 positions, now back into P11. Fernandez, Gress, Wangle Snatcher, and Biscotto all able to get into the top 10 off of that move. Will Green currently holding your fastest lap with a 2:03.6. Making sense given he's got clean air in front of him right now. McGee now looking to keep Canopin at bay. Kurt's right there with him. Kurtz and Fernandez now continuing to battle. You see our deltas starting to spread things out a little bit, and those are the numbers you're seeing there. Those are the gaps between our cars. Rear Oxy, thank you for joining us. Ryoxy? Ryoxy? Is that? I hope I'm saying that right. A Fernandez fan. Fernandez backing off of Kurtz just a little bit right now, but Brian Canopin about to start feeling the pressure as Kurtz tightens that up. Brian Canopin, however, also continuing to close in on King McGee right in front. All the action is right here in the top 5 right now. Will Green has stretched his lead to right now about 4 seconds over Tom Foose. Chris Moses another 4 to 5 seconds back from that. But King McGee, Moses, King McGee, Brian Canopin, Kurtz, Fernandez, and Cole Gress now as well, all looking to keep it tight throughout this race. Just under 10 minutes already gone, and the racing continues to stay tight. Haynes a little further back, P15 able to get around Remco Ottens. Anderson right there in front of him. Take a check in on Biscotto and Christoph Arts. Now, Arts losing a lot of positions earlier. Currently sitting P11, but closing in tight on Biscotto heading into the downhill. John Tracy sets a new fastest lap of a 2:03.1 right there. Cole Gress with some problems. Biscotto, Humphrey Wangle Snatcher as well. Biscotto, Arts, and Zapp all able to get around. Now Brian Canopin pulls on the back end of McGee, looking for the outside swing. And Brian Canopin makes the move around the inside. It looks like Kurtz is there as well. Oh, and Kurtz takes a bump and heads into the grass. Oh my goodness, that could have been very, Very, very bad. Brian Canepa moving up now into 4th. Yannick Kurtz dropping back quickly. McGee and Fernandez both gaining off that after the pass. Cole Gress falling off as well into the pits. Yannick Kurtz looking to get his wheels back under him. He is holding that lead. There he is, Will Green. Let's just take a look at his times compared to Tom Foose, currently running in 2nd. You can see Will Green really a lot of time over Foose with all that open air in front of him. And again, on such a long track, he really doesn't have to contend with some of the other drivers are having to contend with. I mean, even Foose and Chris Moses now have that clean air, but neither of those guys were as fast as Will during qualifying. So it'll be curious to see if Will's able to maintain the pace and what happens once he starts tapping into back markers, right? There he is, Tom Foose coming down the hill as well. Checking on him, Anderson and Haynes as they enter the downhill now. Christoph Arts, after some earlier trouble, now back on the back end of Biscotto. I think we saw this move earlier. And Arts runs off wide, unable, just pushing too hard. Christoph Arts definitely going to lose some slots there as he loses position to Zap Brannigan as well. Zap now finding himself in P9 in his Porsche, that bright orange machine. Wangle Snatcher as well, able to get around Christoph Arts and take position up behind Zap Brannigan. Arts and Scheffer now. Arts holding on in P11 for now, but Jostein Scheffer right there. There's Scheffer able to go around Arts, opening the door rather wide because Scheffer and Anderson able to pull through. Remco Otten's able to get around Haynes right behind them as well, but Arts not having his best race today. Let's put it that way. Very curious to see that. Usually one of our top end drivers, but maybe some frustration setting in. King, McGee, and Fernandez now going to take battle. Taking a look here. Well, King McGee running just about 0.2 faster than Fernandez. But obviously Fernandez is able to close that gap up and give McGee a little bit of a run for his money. Yannick Kurtz now coming up behind them. Josh Butler now into the pits. EJ yellow flagged and off to the side down there. Getting his wheels back under him. Alejandro Aguilar able to get around. Checking again with McGee and Fernandez. Bentley has race cars. Yes, they do. They're affectionately referred to as Boatleys because they are wide and feel like if you drove them into water, they would float. Now, I don't watch a lot. You know, that's what we're focused on now there. King McGee in his Bentley being run down by Fernandez. I don't watch as much SRO in real life GT3 anymore, but I can tell you that Bentley used to have the straight line speed. We were never a top contender, but if it was a long straight track, you were not passing. And as there we see Fernandez, however, able to make that BMW work and take position over King McGee in his Bentley. Will Green setting a new fastest lap of 2:03.037. Continuing to run up in first. Remco Ottens and Andrew Haynes playing battle down the hill and through the straight. See if Remco is able to hold on. You watch Haynes needing to break it down hard to make sure he doesn't overshoot that corner and still runs into the grass. Giving Ottens a little bit of breathing room now, opening up to about a second. Fernandez continues to feel pressure from McGee, though. Oh my, McGee taking the runoff down the hill you saw there in the background. My goodness. Obviously didn't gain him much, but you gotta keep an eye on that, right? Anthony Anderson now holding off Christoph Arts. I continue keeping on these battles. Let's jump up here with Will Green and let's go on board with Will Green right now as he makes a lap around Bathurst. Give you guys an idea of what these drivers are seeing. Just to keep up with it, Wangle Snatcher goes yellow flagged and gets passed by Scheffer, Anderson, and Arts. So Humphrey having some trouble today as well. But watching here Will Green as he takes these corners up this hill. Just a fantastic circuit. We see there Will be catching up to back markers very soon. But as you can see, the walls are right there. It takes a slip. It takes a slip. And then you're in the walls, right? And the downhill, very fun when you catch it properly, which obviously Will has experience doing. Why we go on board with our race leader. And there they are already. Will soon going to be up on these back markers. Wangle Snatcher again yellow flagged right now. Remco Otten's able to get around. Haynes able to get around. And other than the last corner right there, that is a lap at Bathurst. Again, a fantastic circuit. Very fun to drive. Chuck up with Yannick Kurtz, who gets around McGee right there. Back up just a little bit. Very popular corner to grab people. Yannick Kurtz getting himself up into P6 with that. Justine Sheffer, Zap Brannigan, Anderson, and Arts all now running together, though. We're going to go 3 wide, and that is never going to go well into that corner. Sheffer and Zap, Anderson all yellow flagged. Remco Otten's coming around. Everybody needing to slow down. Ottens and Haynes both picking up position. Sheffer looking to move up. Sheffer heading into the pits, but Remco Ottens able to sneak through along with Wangle Snatcher. Zap Brannigan as well looks like maybe struggling at this point. Wow, that was bad. 3 wide through that corner is going to be tight, but Kurtz holds on to P6 right now ahead of King McGee. It's now opening up just a little bit over McGee. As things start to tighten back down. Will Green holding a 3.5 second lead over Tom Foose in second. Tom running right now about 3.6 to 3.8 ahead of Chris Moses, but Moses and Foose both thus far have really just been able to run their races. Will Green, to be fair, at the same time, but now Will's starting to tighten up into those back markers. Brian Canopin is starting to close in on Moses. We'll keep an eye up there as we watch. Will Fernandez is running in 5th right now. Great performance today. And Yannick Kurtz and King McGee continue to keep it close back here. David Soul now off track as Zap Brannigan picks up a position. Tom Foose looking to make his way around back markers. Now, this is something we discussed earlier this week as series runners and admins and such is, blue flags are always a concern. You got to wonder what guys are going to do. Right now, Tom looking to make this clearance. That downhill section at Bathurst is really not the place to do it. Now, neither of these drivers are defending, so we can certainly say, Tom's going to have opportunity here. But at the end of the day, he kept his cool, he held on, and that he's got to have, and there we lose it. He hit that corner just too hard. That curb taken out of him. That's a shame. Going to allow Chris Moses to certainly close up a little bit. I don't think there's anyone at fault there, but Chris Moses is now right there with Brian Canopin as well. What is the camera guy doing? Really? As Tom heads into the pits, going to make that fuel stop. Brian Canopin picking up position along with Moses. I'd seen these guys hitting the curb. Foose was not the only one. I've seen a lot of cars taking that curb today, and I wondered if we were going to see a bounce, right? And yeah, Fife, he recovered excellently. He basically shot across the sand, kept himself slow enough to keep from getting a penalty for a track cut, but I've seen every time they come down the straight, I'm seeing these guys cut that curb and cut that curb and cut that curb, and I'm like, I drive an Audi, so for me, you stay off of curbs as much as possible, but I wondered if it was going to happen, and there we just got to see it. Tom Foose and Christoph Artz now. Foose back out of the pits with a pit time of only 28.5 seconds. Andrew Haynes now into the pits. David Soul as well, as the guys start making their mandatory pit stop. Tom Foose now going to play defense against Christoph Artz. But that whole kerfluffle allowing Brian Canopin as well to get on the back end of Chris Moses. Again, one mandatory pit stop for all drivers today. Now, if I'm Brian Canopin, do I head for the pits? Not this time, right? But it would allow me to come back out maybe into some clean air instead of being behind Moses and get an undercut on him. Moses taking a little bit of the grass with him this time. Rogerio Santos and John Tracy now tightening it up. John Tracy looking to take position here, and he does, able to scoot just a little bit ahead if he can hold the line down through this fast corner. Able to nudge his way back out. John Tracy putting himself back into P17. John, our pole position holder at the beginning of this race, able to qualify first, but unfortunately some issues at the opening of the race kept him, meant he had to head into the pits. So very unfortunate to see. He obviously has pace, able to make that clean pass on Santos, but that gets him up to P17, so he'll continue to look to tighten things up as we jump back up front with Moses and Canopin. Esports legend Brian Canopin. So again, if I'm Brian Canopin, I'm biding my time. One of us has to go to the pits first, unless we both go at the same time. But I'm biding my time, maybe waiting for some clean air. We'll keep an eye here and see if these guys, who's going to undercut who when it comes to the pit stops. And there it is. Moses heading into the pits, going to undercut Brian Canopin. Brian now with a little bit of opportunity to try and open up a lead here. But today's pit is, as far as I know, fuel only. As we watch, I keep an eye on Moses, currently 18 seconds in the pits. Most of our drivers hitting 28 seconds in and out. But Moses taking a little longer than most, as he leaves now 27 with a 10.5 in and out. So obviously going to cost him some time there, given what we've seen from some of the other drivers. Charlton now able to make the move on Kevin Silvares. Someone we haven't heard from much today, Tobias Gable. This is not his track. Maybe not a big Bathurst fan, as he is currently running P19. But excellent racing from all of our drivers today. And King McGee is spun. Looks like he may have made contact with a back marker there. Got your boy Blue and Scenes Taylor both in the pits at this time. Not quite sure what might have happened there. I don't want to back it up 30 seconds. Yeah, we can back it up. Push spread out right there with a slide into that corner and getting pushed. Wow. Very unfortunate, as King McGee will start to lose positions from that. But Yannick Kurtz now, as Brian Canopin and Fernandez both head into the pits. Yannick Kurtz will be holding on to P2. Both him and Will Green needing to clear that pit stop, though. Moscato now into the pits, along with McGee. Take a check on Jostein Scheffer and John Tracy a little further back. John Tracy grabbing position, but he's on the outside there. Can he hold it through the inside of this one? He can. That'll push John up into P15. Take a check on Boscato, though. Boscato now off track and sitting. Very quickly losing position as we check on Wilson Fernandez and Chris Moses, currently P6 and 7 respectively. Fernandez grabbing a lot of grass through the top of the hill right there. Never a good thing. Looked like Moses might have dipped the wall right there, however. I'm gonna let Fernandez open up just a tad. Now with just over 12, or I'm sorry, just under 12 minutes left to go in today's race. So Yannick Kurtz, our current P2, right now in the pits. We'll see where things hash out here as people look to make a splash and dash here at the end of the race. Again, just over 11 minutes left to go. Yannick Kurtz now back out of the pits, heading out now. We're going to come out just ahead of Fernandez and Moses. See there, Yannick Kurtz able to pull up 4 positions today from qualifying. Great race for him, but Fernandez and Moses going to continue their battle up the hill. Tom Foose now caught up in back markers as he heads down. Both him and Christoph Arts hung up in those back markers right now. But Will Green somehow now, it looks like, has a 33-second lead over P2. And near as I can tell, that is just simply from staying out of trouble. Now, Will, I believe, still has to make that pit stop, however, so I can do that. How wonderful. Okay, well, we'll turn it off because that's not accurate, but I just figured that out. Perfect. That's what happens with new software. Brian Canopin under pressure from Yannick Kurtz today. So both Will Green and Christoph Arts need to head into the pits as of yet. So we will see what happens when those things when those come to pass. Brian Canopin looking to keep Kurtz at bay as they head back uphill. Yo, Moons, thank you so much, sir. You didn't have to do that, buddy, but I do appreciate you. The man, the myth, the legend in our chat today, ladies and gentlemen. Brian Canopin is an esports legend, but the real Moons is a legend in my heart. So y'all take that for what you will. I believe the front of Canopin's Audi looks dinged up, but I don't recall seeing any incident with him. Maybe some bump drafting from Brian today. Under pressure in the back from Kurtz with a back marker right in front of him. Not an easy position to be in. So we see that McLaren looking to clear air for these guys, but dipping a tire into the grass, that is not a good thing to have happen. Ryan continues to hold on to P4 right now. It's over 7 minutes left today. Gerald Butz and John Tracy now going to battle as well. John Tracy looking for that shot, able to make it and clear that corner very easily. Nice move on his part. So after some trouble up front, he's gotten himself back up into P12 now. Gerald Butz heading into the pits, as we saw King McGee currently running in P14. So we wait for Will Green to head into the pits today to see where that puts him. Again, with a 34-second gap. From the pit times we've seen, he should be safe, but he better be quick about it. Off Arts, Brian Canopin now hung up in traffic now with Kurtz right there behind him, going to apply pressure behind a back marker. Yannick Kurtz putting the wow, putting the front end of that BMW right under the wing of Canopin's Audi. And yeah, I'm not wrong. The front of that Audi is a little dinged up, isn't it? Christoph Arts now into the pits, dropping quickly, losing position to Ottens, Wangle Snatcher, and Anderson. But this is the battle at the end of the race right here. 4.5 minutes left to go. Brian Canopin and Yannick Kurtz. Kurtz, just by numbers, doing a fantastic job today. Even sitting in P4, gaining 5 slots after today's qualifying session. Brian Canopin as well, moving up 2 to position 3, looking to keep that podium. Brian also sitting right now with the fastest lap of today's race with a 2:02.887. And really doing a great job on defense. We'll see though. Kurtz looking for it here. Maybe some door banging. We're going to show each other that we're here, and Kurtz able to make the pass, taking that P3 podium away from Brian Canopin with just over 3 minutes left in today's race. Excellent driving from both those guys. A great multi-lap battle. Will Green still having not dropped into the pits. Humphrey Wangle Snatcher into the pits now, along with Remco Ottens, Stevens, all three. Those guys all waiting until the end of this race. Yannick Kurtz now sitting on podium if he can keep Brian Canopin at bay. Brian doesn't appear to be pushing at this point, but we'll see how long that lasts. Wilson Fernandez right there in P5, not that far back from these guys. It takes one mistake from one or both of these drivers, and Fernandez will be sitting on a podium at the end of today's race. Will Green now into the pits. Let's keep an eye on the time. And let's check in on Tom Foose. Where is Tom on track? Coming down the straight. We're going to keep our eyes right here and see which one of these guys comes out first. Tom able to clear back marker heading into that final corner. Will Green is away. He's got a clean exit. It looks like he is out and going to come out ahead of Tom Foose, who still is just now clearing T1. So Will still need to get up to speed, and the gap cut down to 5.3 seconds, but Will still able to pull it out and hold on to P1. As we check on Sheffer and McGee now. Remco Ottens right there in P9. He's going to have Jostein Sheffer and Lee King McGee to contend with at the end of this race. Just 30 seconds left now, 25 seconds left to go. These guys will probably be pulling one more lap. Brian Canopin now 1.8 back off of Yannick Kurtz. So Yannick sitting in P3. It's his race to lose, his podium to lose. Right now, it's Jostein Sheffer and Lee King McGee. Again, no matter what, Sheffer has to just be ecstatic today. 8 positions gained, putting him up into the top 10. If he can hold McKee at bay for one more lap. Remco Ottens as well, looking to make one more circuit around this mountain without a mistake and not lose at least 3, if not 4 positions, with Scheffer, McGee, Anderson, and Santos all right there. Even Wangle Snatcher not that far back to where it would not cost dearly if Remco can't hold on. But McGee is going to apply that pressure. Oh, and Remco goes into the wall down the hill. This is not going to be good for anybody. Jostein Scheffer able to shoot by, McGee able to get by before Remco's able to gain control. Scheffer continues to hold on to his position, but this bumps him into P9 with McGee into the top 10 now. Will Green is your winner right there. Able to hold on for the entire 45 minutes after getting the jump at the beginning of today's race against John Tracy. John currently finishing P8. Tom Foose in P2 with Yannick Kurtz finishing P3. Brian Canup, an esports legend, finishing P4. Wilson Fernandez in 5. Moses in 6. Arts in 7th. John Tracy should be right there as we continue to watch Jostein Scheffer hold King McGee at bay. John Tracy finishing P8. Scheffer and McGee coming across the line, P9 and 10. Excellent battle right to the end. Anderson finishing out P11 with Remco Ottens after a mistake down the hill in P12. Santos Wangle Snatcher finishing. As we wait for Steven to cross the line. Cole Gress as well, sitting in P16 right now. There you go, folks. That is it. Real Moons, I called it, he says. Moons, you guessed green. I think you've guessed green. I think you've guessed green every race. I'm pretty sure at this point you've guessed green every race. Am I not? Am I wrong there? I'm pretty sure. Yeah, see, but so eventually you had to be right. You knew. You knew what was going on, didn't you? You did. Come on, I know you did. But I want to thank you for being here anyway. Thank you for that sub, Moons. And thank you for everyone for joining us. Thank you to all the drivers. Great racing today. I mean, these guys kept it really clean across this entire race. I think we had some great driving today, some excellent battles. New software worked out pretty well, right? I'm going to keep playing with it, but I think I might be sold on it. We'll be good. And I wouldn't take it away from you, Moons. I knew you were going to be right. I'm going to let Will Green know that he has a fan out there and that it is the real Moons. So... But again, thank you so much, everybody, for joining in today. I appreciate it. Let's take a look, just real quick, because I don't want to leave anybody not knowing. Again, we're not back next week for Season 2. Season 2 will continue on April 24th, but that's because... Whoops, that's the wrong one. Next week, we're back for a 24-hour race at Imola. Okay? Multi-class GT3... BMW M2 CSs and Porsche Cup cars, sponsored by Apex Sim Racing. And a random driver at the end of that stream will take home an Apex vertical mount V2 button box. But the week after, we're back with next level racings. And Coach Dave Academy putting this on. I mean, I thank him so much. We're back at Imola again for an endurance race on April 24th. But that one's only 90 minutes. We're not going to do another 24, okay? But that Pro Class Champ, only 3 rounds left to see who's going to win that next level racing FGT Light and who will walk away with that car setup bundle and track bundle from Coach Dave Academy. Thank you so much for them. And again, guys, don't forget, you don't have, it's not all about the broadcast. It's about going and having fun driving. Beer Cup, Tuesday nights, 10 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time in conjunction with Trackalicious and 949 Sim Racing. Porsche Cup cars, BMWs on track together. It's a lot of fun. The Euro trip, same thing. Casual racing, 30 minutes, 8 p.m. UTC, or I'm sorry, 7 p.m. UTC now, which puts it right around 3 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Come join in for some casual racing. Exclamation point box in the chat will get you there. And I hit it early by mistake, but again, in conjunction with 949 and Trackalicious, all summer long, we are here for 6-hour endurance series in May, June, July, and August. You will be able to watch those races live either here at twitch.tv/Trackalicious or at twitch.tv/949 Sim Racing. So be sure and tune in for those. Own It Racing with rating with 13 people. Thank you so much for being there. Our race has come to an end, and I wish you guys were here for us. It was great. It was at Mount Panorama. It was an absolutely crazy race. We had battles right to the end. But Own It Racing, thank you so much for doing that. You are awesome. I appreciate you being here. I appreciate everybody that came in with Own It Racing. You guys are awesome. And if you stick around for a minute, you will actually get to see what we have going on here at Box3 Motorsports. Exclamation point box in the chat will get you to our Discord where you can join in and all that fun. My name is Adam Thursby. I want to thank everybody for being here. I want to thank Moons for the sub. I want to thank Own It Racing for that raid. You guys are absolutely fantastic. Everybody from the drivers to the watchers. We'll be back next Saturday for 24 hours at Imola. I can't wait. We're going to have an absolute blast. Have a good week, folks. Stay healthy, stay sane at work, and come back next week to enjoy the fun.